Create with Fran Sydney. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. This is Fran Sydney and we are today on episode 155. The topic for the day is how to stop smoking, and we are going to talk about all this with Eddy Pun, who is coming from Singapore. Welcome to the show.
Hello France, thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. I've been following you and I love to listen to your podcast and I learn so much from your podcast.
Thank you very much, Eddy. I know we want to talk about smoking with you in particular because you seem to know quite a lot of how to treat the habit of smoking. So feel free to introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, and first let me give a short introduction about myself. I'm Eddy, the quit smoking specialist, and I help clients all over the world to quit smoking without cravings and anxiety in as little as just one single session.
Well, that's quite an achievement, Eddy. So let's see what happens when people are smoking. So what are the common issues that you find with smokers? Just feel free to expand as you would like.
Yes, smoking is something where people find that they're addicted to. But the problem is when a person is addicted to something, they just can't stop it. And the problem also comes from the fact that once you're addicted to a habit, you find it so hard to quit. And even though you want to quit so much, perhaps because you want to save money or because the doctor tells you to quit because of your health, sometimes it's not as easy as just turning off the switch and the addiction stops. Because smoking is something that is so personal to the smoker. When a person smokes, it reminds them of so many things. Some people have a connection to smoking because perhaps the parents smoke. Some people have a connection because they remember sometimes when they have an achievement, they smoke. Or when they want to take a break, they smoke. Or when they want to start the day with a coffee, they smoke. So all these triggers are really important for the smoker because they find that this is the connection they have with smoking. And when a person tries to stop smoking just like that, this means that they have lost the connection from what they used to gain from smoking. When they feel that they have a connection with their family or the connection when they are managed to take a break, all this will stop when they quit smoking. And it's not an easy task to tell a person to quit just like that. It doesn't work that way. So a lot of people, they try many methods to quit by perhaps taking the nicotine gums or nicotine patches. Yes, nicotine replacement therapy could work by allowing yourself to get the nicotine from the nicotine patch instead of cigarettes. But it doesn't solve the problem. The main problem is not resolved. The connection that the person is seeking is not resolved. So a lot of people, they try to quit using different methods. They try to replace a habit with another habit. They try to do it cold turkey, willpower, and they find it so difficult to quit smoking, and that's why they give up. The problem is, it's not about trying all types of method. It's finding the best way to understand what is the root cause. You see, addiction is something that gives us the opportunity to move from pain to pleasure. And that's how our mind works. Our mind is programmed to help our body to move from pain to pleasure. And for these smokers, whenever they feel the pain, for example, if they feel a stress, or they feel lonely, or they feel they have a problem they cannot think, smoking gives them a certain pleasure, makes them feel free, makes them feel inspired. And if that goes on, it will allow them to have the connection whereby, hey, each time I smoke, I feel free. Each time I smoke, I get to take a break. I get to take a breather. So this sort of connection is the one that makes a person smoke, and it makes it so hard for the person to quit. And that is why we always need to assess what is the root cause for this person who's trying to quit smoking. And everyone is different. Each individual is different. Like I mentioned, a person might smoke because he's stressed, or another person might smoke because he has this connection with his father who's a smoker as well. So each and every one of us need to understand what is the root cause. And once we understand what is our root cause, it is so easy to quit smoking.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, and thank you for explaining it so well. There is a trigger, and there is a familiarity, and there is a habit that every time we have a trigger, we tend to act in the same way, and also bringing back those memories. So that's great. Go ahead.
Yes, many people try to quit smoking by just putting on a nicotine patch or nicotine gum, but it doesn't solve the root cause. For example, if you have a splinter on your finger and you don't do anything about it, you just put a plaster on it, hoping for it to heal. Is it going to heal? No, it will never heal, because the splinter is still there, the pain is still there. So what we need to do in order to allow your finger to heal, before we put on the plaster, we need to first remove the splinter, and then we apply medication and we put on the plaster. Then the finger will eventually heal. So if you understand this logic, we also need to do the same thing to ourselves when we are trying to quit smoking. Because a person smokes not because it's fun or he likes it. A person smokes because it gives them an opportunity to feel the pleasure when they feel the pain. So we must first understand what is the pain about. And once we understand the pain, we can help this person to rewire their brain to allow them to understand that, hey, when you experience this pain, you do not need to smoke in order to feel the pleasure. You do not need a cigarette to help you to get the pleasure out of this pain. If you do something about this, if you handle the situation about this pain, you look at this problem and you try to look at it objectively, you can resolve the pain without having to use cigarette to give you the pleasure. Let's take for example, if a person is feeling stressed because of a tight schedule at work, you feel that you can't meet the deadline, you feel very stressed. What this person feels is the pain, so ultimately the body will tell you, hey, it's time for you to smoke. Well, what does the smoking do? All it does is it relaxes this person, allows this person to feel better. But then, when the person comes back to work, the problem is still there. The stress is still there. The schedule is still so tight, you've still got all this list of things to be done before the deadline. So what smoking does, it just gives you the temporary relief, temporary pleasure to allow this person to move on. And this temporary pleasure might be good, but it actually does not serve a purpose, because at the end of the day, smoking is not good for your health, it's not good for your pocket, it's not good for the people around you.
Yes, these are very great points. So there must be ways that we can work with smoking. Is hypnosis any good? Is NLP good? What would you use to treat this problem?
So in order to help this person to quit smoking, we have to allow this person to understand that smoking is something you can do without. And how do we do that? We rewire our mind to allow this person to understand that smoking is not the way to go. To do this, we do it through hypnosis, because hypnosis is the most effective, the easiest way to rewire our mind to allow us to disconnect from the connection of smoking. In hypnosis, what happens is our mind needs to understand what is happening. If our mind doesn't understand what is happening, it will go through the cycle over and over again. Yeah, when you wake up, you have a coffee and you have a smoke. And when you go to work and if you feel stressed, you have a smoke. This is what our mind does. It's habitual, and it thinks that this works because it has been working for so many years. It has to work. So if a person tries to not smoke and just avoid smoking, the mind is going to keep reminding you, hey, it's time to smoke. You're feeling stressed. Go and get a cigarette. Go and smoke. And your body will respond and remind you by giving you the cravings, making you feel uncomfortable, making you feel uneasy, until you take the cigarette and you take your first puff. And you suddenly feel better, right? So this is what the mind has been doing. The mind has been serving you to help you achieve what it thinks works for you. This is your schedule. Every morning you just need to smoke. Every time you feel stressed, you need to smoke. And this is what the mind has been telling you. So if you want to change this, you need to rewire your mind, and you can do this through hypnosis so that your mind can understand, hey, you don't need to smoke in order to release the stress. Hey, when you take a break, you don't need to have a smoke. You just need to go out and have a fresh air. So when hypnosis rewires your mind, it will make sure that you do not connect all these things with cigarette. So how do we allow our mind to be rewired? There are a few ways. We must first understand how our mind works. You see, our mind learns through repetition, which means it takes 21 days to learn a new habit or to change an existing habit. So if you want to change a habit, it's not as easy as just snap a finger and you can do it. You have to remind yourself all the time. You must remind yourself every day for at least 21 days before this habit changes into a new habit. So you've been smoking for many years. If you've been smoking every time you have a coffee, if you want to change this habit, you need to rewire your mind. And you tell yourself, hey, I don't need to smoke anymore. So look in the mirror. Look at the mirror and you tell yourself, hey, I don't need to smoke in the morning. I don't need to smoke when I'm having my coffee. And you believe this. You tell yourself and you believe this. You assure that you will be okay. You are not going to smoke anymore. Your mind eventually will listen to you. Probably not the first day, probably not the second day, but eventually it will listen to you. Your mind will listen to you because that's how your mind works. Your mind understands what is happening through what you tell your mind, and your body will respond to your mind as well by not giving the cravings. And eventually you will find that the craving will be gone, and you will find that it's easier to quit smoking. And that's how it works. Your mind first forms a belief telling you that, hey, you don't need to smoke. Smoking is not the way to help you release stress. It's just there because you have once believed that smoking is helpful for you, but it no longer is helpful. So if you tell yourself this every time, you tell yourself every day that you're not going to smoke when you feel stressed, along the way, your body will stop giving you this craving. And when you stop having this craving, you will stop smoking and you will find that it's easier to quit this way. Because let me tell you one thing. If you stop smoking today, it takes up to 48 hours to completely expel the nicotine from your body. Which means, if you stop today, in 2 days, you feel lighter. You feel your body have more energy, you have a better sense of taste, you'll have a better sense of smell, you'll have more energy, you'll feel more motivated, you'll feel more productive because the nicotine is out of your system. And after that, you'll get better, you'll have more strength, you will be able to have a better, clearer mind, and you'll exercise better, you achieve more things, and you're more alert, you're more productive, and it gets better and better. So all these things will happen once you take the first step to quit smoking. So if you really want to rewire your mind through hypnosis, I also offer a free audio hypnosis recording to allow you to quit smoking easily. What you need to do is to listen to this audio recording every day, a few times a day, and you listen to it for the next 21 days. As long as you're not driving or you're not working or not exercising, you listen to it because you need to be in a relaxed state, and you listen to this recording. And when you listen to this hypnosis recording, your mind will slowly be rewired to allow you to not depend on smoking anymore. And your body will gradually respond to it, and you find that you do not need to smoke anymore. The cravings will be gone. And this is the easiest way to allow yourself to quit smoking.
Okay, thank you, Eddy. That's so useful. So it's the habit. We have a trigger, we repeat the action, we are used to have that emotion, but we can change that habit, we can change by changing the way we think. I totally agree with the idea of listening to a recording. There are many people who sell recording, hypnotic recording, and at the end of the day, our brain learns by repetition, and if we hear something often enough, we will start accepting it. It will be a concept that becomes familiar to us. It will feel like it's normal, and it will be the new normal. So I'm very glad that we talked about this, because it's an important aspect. It isn't just stopping smoking or vaping, but it's replacing the thinking behind it with a much healthier way of dealing with uncomfortable feelings and thoughts that we do not want to feel, and that's why we go and use substances or do something that we might regret later on. So let's talk to the people in our audience who are looking for ways to stop smoking. And I always like in my episodes to talk to them directly and say, okay, here are some things, some actionable tips that you can put into practice straight away. What have you got for us, Eddy? What can we do to stop smoking or vaping today?
So 3 tips on how you can quit smoking successfully. I always tell my clients, the first step is to set your date and time when you want to quit smoking. This is very important. This date and time doesn't need to be today or tomorrow. It's when you are ready. If you've got in-laws coming over and you feel that you're not ready, or if you've got a celebration coming over, you're gonna go out for drinks and smoke, do it after this celebration. As long as you set the date when you are ready, then you make sure that you keep to this date. What this does is it mentally prepares you to tell us that, hey, after this date, you are not going to smoke anymore, you're going to quit. And it will build up from now until the day you want to quit. It will build up. It's the same when you go for an exam. You need to prepare yourself. You need to know when is the date. You need to know what you need to do before the exam. The same thing goes here. You need to prepare yourself for the day when you eventually quit smoking. So the first step is to prepare yourself and set the date and time for you to quit smoking. And once you set it, you make sure that you tell yourself that you're going to quit on this date. You tell your friends and family that you're going to quit. You make sure that you prepare yourself and the people around you are aware of this date and time. This is the first step. The second step, when the date approaches, make sure you throw away all the cigarettes. I'm sure we know that the environment shapes our goal. And if at your home, your office, you have cigarettes lying around, you've got lighters, you've got ashtrays lying around, it's so tempting. So what you need to do is, before this date arrives, you make sure you throw away all traces of cigarettes, lighters, ashtrays, anything that reminds you of cigarettes. If you're used to going to the convenience store down the road to buy a cigarette, make sure you stay away from that store. So you need to allow your body to feel that the cigarette is no longer accessible to you, it's no longer available to you from this date onwards. That's very important because temptation will kill. It will always be there. You just need to avoid all this temptation at all costs. And the last step number 3 is don't forget to seek help. Yeah, you are going to find it very difficult to quit. I can guarantee you. Your mind will go through a lot of turmoil. There's going to be a big battle between your mind and your body. You want to quit and your body is not allowing you to quit. You might feel anxiety, you might feel tightness in your chest, you might feel you're shaking. It's not going to be easy. So don't forget to seek help. First, you need to understand that you're not alone and you cannot do this alone. So try to tell your friends or family that, hey, you're going to quit smoking on this day, and after that, your friends need to support you because you might feel agitated, you might feel easily irritated, you might feel angry, you might feel like it's the end of the world, whatever it is. Your friends and family need to assure you that you can do it, that to give you the strength that you can do it. Or perhaps you've got a hotline from the country, you can dial into the hotline and get support from this hotline. Or there are many Facebook groups online to support you to quit smoking. Just join the Facebook group and you can get support. You can read the stories, people trying to quit, how they quit, you get ideas. So it's also very inspiring to know that, hey, some people have managed to quit the first day, 5th day, 10th day, and all this will help you to get better at quitting smoking. And if all this don't work, seek out a therapist, because a therapist helps you to deal with quitting and deal with all these cravings and the symptoms of the withdrawals. The therapist will help you to dig deep inside to understand what is your root cause and to help you to solve your root cause, which in the end make it easier for you to quit smoking.
Thank you very much. These are really good tips, and I think we're all quite actionable, seeking for help, changing those habits, getting rid of all the possible temptations. And this is the same for some food problems. For example, when we want to give up sugar because maybe we are addicted. We can't really give up sugar if we keep filling up our cupboards with chocolate bars and all sorts of tempting things. We're better off not to go to parties for a while, so we get used to not having sugar. And we must remember also with nicotine. Nicotine stays in circulation for only a few days after the last cigarette. Once that level of nicotine is gone down, then it's an emotional problem and no longer a body problem. So it becomes easy. After the first week is way easier. So I'm really thankful for your visit here to my podcast, Eddy. So thank you so much for coming here. And please let us know, maybe some of our audience would like to stop smoking. Maybe they would like to have a chat with you about it. So where can we find you? Where are you? I'm gonna put all the links down below in the description, but just in case.
Yes, Franz, thanks for having me here. It was a great chat. So if the people would like to get to know me or to ask me any questions, feel free to come to my website, eddypuncanheal.com. Or you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, and I've got many videos, free videos on YouTube as well. So you can follow me online on social media, or you can come to my website, and you can also book my time if you're keen, because I give a free 30-minute session where you can ask me any questions at all, and within this 30 minutes I also will give you a mini hypnosis session where you can feel how is it like to be hypnotized and how it feels like to be a non-smoker. Okay, friends, thank you so much for having me. You have a good evening and thank you for everything. I wish you all the best. Bye.
Bye bye, Eddy, and everyone, thank you so much for listening to us. This was a great episode. I've learned so much about smoking and possibly vaping. Make sure you click like, share, subscribe, invite a friend to listen to this so they can also learn how easy it is in the end of the day if you have a help. Not easy because stopping smoking is easy, but easy as it's possible. We actually have a strength. It's a lot easier than we thought, and we need to have a positive thinking about this, don't we? So thanks again everyone, and I'll see you all next week. Take care, bye bye! You've listened to Create with Fran Sydney.